Okay, 1300-564-652. Well, as I said earlier, the issue of regional youth crime across New South Wales has been a constant for a long, long time. In the far west of New South Wales, towns like Burke and Brewarrina and Cobar, they've all had their share of headaches. But Dubbo is a much bigger centre, much bigger centre. Excuse me. And the significance of these youth crimes issues, they can't be ignored unless you happen to be Matthew Dickinson, who is the mayor of Dubbo, and he seems to want to ignore them. He's intent on playing down the concerns, describing them as a state. On the line, Mr. Dickinson, good morning.
Good morning, John. Good to be chatting to you.
Well, it's good to be able to talk to you. Youth crime is occurring in Dubbo. Surely you need to be tackling some of those issues in Dubbo.
There's crime happening across the entire state, John, and one of the really troubling parts for...
Yes, but that... Whoa. But that doesn't matter. I mean, we can say that a rape was committed last night in Redfern, and you can say to me, well, rape is occurring right across Australia. It doesn't lessen the problem at all. You're the mayor of Dubbo. You deal with Dubbo. So let's talk about Dubbo.
Sure, happy to talk about Dubbo. And the really interesting part, John, is that the powers that council have are not able to control the crime. It's really a state government issue. So you are right on the mayor of Dubbo. I'm not the premier. I'm not the police minister. And that's obviously where the changes have got to occur, because I can't control policing or the sentencing regime. And I think the police do a fantastic job, but we just seem to see these kids going into the courthouse and coming back out of the courthouse without any penalties. So I think really the problem has to be addressed by the state government. I can't control the sentencing regime. I don't control where the levers are, and that's where we need the state government to step in.
When did you last speak to the police minister?
I've spoken to the police minister several times. In fact, I was in Parliament House yesterday speaking to Jihad Dib, which is the Minister for Youth Justice. So as recently as yesterday, we've sent many letters off going back to the last government and this government, to police ministers, to various levels of government, trying to emphasise these issues, and obviously personal conversations as well with various levels. So again, we can keep imploring that, but we're also a member of country mayors, and as you'll be aware, country mayors have also put forward the idea that we need to be tackling regional crime issues.
Okay, look, with great respect, I mean, we're hearing all this talk, and we're hearing it not only from you, but from other people as well. What action is being taken? You know, actions speak much louder than words. So when is some action going to take place?
I'd love you to find out when some action is taking place from the state government, John, because tell me what I can do within the powers of council to address the crime issues you're talking about. I don't know what powers I've got to address these issues. They have to come from the state government. So I agree with you. I want to see some action. Let's see some action from the state government.
Okay, who in the state government have you spoken to?
Yeah, so I've just gone through, go back to the last government, Paul Toole, his police minister. We've sent letters.
No. This present government.
So we've sent...
Yesterday or today, when have you spoken to them?
I spoke to Jihad Dib yesterday, as recently as yesterday in Parliament House. I've sent letters off, formal letters as resolutions of council. Our council's been supportive of these, sending off letters to the state government asking for these. But also, and I have to stress this, John, country mayor's voice is larger than one single council. There's 128 councils in the state. How many letters do you think Yasmin Catley gets from those various councils? So having that voice from country mayors is very important. So when country mayors are requesting things to happen, that's more powerful than Dubbo, and we are fully supportive of what country mayors have been requesting as a member of country mayors.
Okay, but what did you, I mean, after all the talk in state parliament, what did you achieve?
Well, again, putting our foot forward to say we need something done about this. I can't achieve it by myself, John. I need the state government to make the changes. So I can ask for lots of things. I ask government for money all the time. I ask government for lots of things. And that's all I can do is ask for it. And then I've got to wait for them to actually make the changes. I can't make them.
Okay, but if you said you've got to ask the state government, haven't you asked them? No.
Yes, absolutely. I've said that already. I've said that we've sent letters off. We've had conversations. We've made representations to the state government. And what are we getting? Well, they'll go and do their thing because, John, the frustrating part is that the state government controls council. We are but an active parliament of the state government. We don't control the state government. We can't tell them what to do. I can't tell the police what to do. I have a regular meeting with the police. I've got another one booked in this afternoon with our commander here. We have a lovely conversation, but I can't tell him what to do. I do not have the power to tell him what to do.
Okay, so can't you find somebody who can tell him what to do?
Well, I think you've got a better chance than I have, John, because they'll probably listen to your radio station more than they'll listen to me. But that's where we make these representations to the state government, but it's up to the state government to make these changes. And sure, they announced some changes yesterday, so that sounds like there's something happening there. Both Yasmin Catley and Chris Minns said they don't need a crime inquiry, they know what to do. Well, fantastic, let them start doing it. And that would be fantastic for Dubbo and all 128 councils across the state.
That would be. You're quite right. But why have a mayor if you can't help with the problems of your town? And that's what we're talking about, a problem of your town.
You have a mayor because you've got things that council controls. John, if you didn't get your garbage being picked up on time, talk to me. If your water isn't treated correctly, talk to me. If the sewage treatment plant isn't working properly, talk to me. We control those things. We don't control crime. I also get requests, John, probably more requests for this than I do about crime, that housing is not as affordable as it used to be because the interest rates are too high. I don't control the Reserve Bank. I can't ring the governor and say, can you put the interest rates down for Dubbo? Because he's going to say, it's not your responsibility. The same as crime in this situation. I don't control what the state government does with crime. I can ask and hope for my best.
Okay, one of your mates, or I don't know, a bloke who's on the council with you, Josh Black, he has labelled your position as a disgrace, arguing that you should be lobbying the New South Wales government for a 24-hour police station at nearby Wellington. Is that so?
Josh is on council with me and he knows we've already done that. We've sent letters off to the police minister asking for a 24-hour police station at Wellington. So we have done that as council. Remembering, John, if you read the Local Government Act, Section 226, it talks about the role of the mayor, and one of the roles of the mayor is to be the spokesperson for council. So any councillor, including Josh Black, can bring forward motions to send off letters and actually have me represent the views of council, which I do.
Okay, but are you getting a 24-hour police station at Wellington?
That'd be a question you'd have to ask Yasmin Catley, because I don't make that decision, John.
Yeah, well, that's unfortunate. But if you did make the decision, would you be doing that?
It'd be there yesterday, John. If I was in charge of the police, then you'd have a 24-hour police station. But again, I don't think the problem we're having with crime across this state is the police. I think the police do an exceptional job. I think we're just seeing the sentencing regime. The prison population, John, today, compared to what it was before the pandemic, has gone down by 12.2%. Crime hasn't gone down by 12.2%, so why has the prison population gone down by 12.2%? There's only one answer for that, and that's a sentencing regime. People are getting away with crime time after time. It's almost a bit of a joke to some of the criminals now that they go and have their 5 seconds in court and feel like they've just wasted the court's time coming in. So we need this addressed at the sentencing level, and we also are talking about intergenerational issues.
Okay, but before we go on with any of that, you need to explain something to me. What is the solution for youth crime problem?
Well, I think part of the solution to the youth crime problem is to make sure that kids that actually commit crimes end up being taken off the street. I don't think we can leave kids that have committed crimes 20, 30, 40, 50 times, leaving them on the street. There's got to be some level of protection for people on the street. Now, I know we talk a lot about diversionary tactics, absolutely. We are talking, though, John, about intergenerational issues, and I don't think we're going to necessarily solve them in 5 seconds. And there are some kids who just think the law is a joke, and some of those kids should be sitting somewhere where they can't keep interfering with our good residents.
Yes, well, everybody would agree with that, particularly the residents. And tell me, what role does Dougal Saunders have to play in this? I mean, he's the local member of Parliament. He's now the leader of the National Party, formerly a minister in the previous government. What's his part?
Well, certainly he'd be very similar to myself, that lobbying government, he's got some more power in government, obviously, because he can be there face-to-face with them, facing off in Parliament with them. But I'm sure Dougal would be in there arguing for the same things, that we need to come up with solutions to solve some of these crime issues we're getting.
Okay, but do Do you lobby Dougal to get help from the state government?
I certainly talk to Dougal on a regular basis and talk to him about these same concerns. When I send off letters to the government, out of courtesy, I'll CC our local member, being Dougal. So Dougal is aware of these letters that we send off to the government on a regular basis. In fact, I only spoke to Dougal this morning about this exact issue and about dolly incapacts and the various issues, just talking to him about some of the announcements made by the government yesterday. The other one, John, just to tell you another little bit of a frustration that we certainly have, is when we look on Boxar to get the stats for crime, and I have talked to this again with a number of members of Parliament or government, the time frame from when we get to the end of a quarter to when we get those stats is ridiculous. It takes somewhere usually around 6 to 8 weeks before the stats are released. So when someone says there's been a bad crime problem in the last month or 2 months, I don't really know because I don't have the stats until another month and a half to 2 months after the end of a quarter. So,
well, whose fault is that?
Well, I don't know. I haven't been able to get to the problem with that one, John, but I've asked a lot of people about it and everyone complains about the same issue. But this quarter we're in now, if you said to me, what's crime like in this quarter, I'll be able to tell you maybe the middle or the end of May what crime has been like in the quarter that we're currently in. And that's just not good enough.
Okay. If you don't know, why don't you ask the local police? They'd inform you, surely.
I do talk to the local police and they can give me some anecdotes, but anecdotes aren't data. I need data to be able to have sensible conversations with people like you, to be able to use data rather than an anecdote. An anecdote is not good enough to tell you what's actually happening. So I certainly talked about trying to get that data earlier. Even I said if we could get it at council confidentially, and they said you'll get it at the same time the public gets it, and that'll be when we've finished compiling the data. So that's a bit of a frustration which many people across the state feel as well.
Yeah, I mean, you sound to me like a very decent man who's doing his best, but you seem to be passing the buck a lot.
Well, I'm being realistic, John. I'm not going to make promises to my community that I cannot keep, and there is no point at all for me to say, sure, I'll get in and solve these crime problems for you. There's an election coming up in September this year, John. It'd be very easy for me to say, hey, vote me in and I'll fix these crime problems for you. I'm lying to the public if I say that because I simply don't have the power to solve the crime problems. We facilitate things. We get PCYC talking to the police and we get Apollo House, which is a diversionary tactic. We have these conversations and facilitate these, but really we need some major things to happen and I just don't have the power to do that. So I'd be lying to the community if I said I can solve these problems.
Yeah. Well, you find yourself in a difficult position, and I do understand that. You sound, as I said, like a reasonable man who would like to do his best.
Well, more than that, John, I don't like to do my best. I do my best, full stop, and I do my best in everything that I've got control over. Again, if it's something that's controlled under council, we've got full control. We can make decisions about things like our airport or our sale yards or our childcare centre, our swimming pools. We make decisions on those so people can talk to me about those and I can give them an answer that I can control those things with my fellow councillors. But I just don't have the levers to control these intergenerational crime issues that we're seeing at the moment.
Okay. I appreciate your time. Let's hope things improve for everybody's sake.
Always my pleasure to chat, John.
Thank you. Bye.